Okay. Namaste, namaste, namaste. Ciao, ciao, ciao. Hi, hi, hi. Hola, hola, hola. In Kuwait, we say hella, hella, hella. Okay. I will start like where my friend finished with a story. I have a friend who was on doing a workshop, and a lady came to her after the workshop and asked her for help, for some, coaching, or and my friend didn't have time. She just finished her workshop, so she kind of gave her a few minutes, from her time. This lady said to her, "I love my job and I hate my boss. I hate my boss, but I love my job. What am I gonna do? How am I gonna live? I love my job, but my boss is really bad." So my friend Mary Lee asked her, she told her in the morning, "What kind of questions do you ask yourself?" And she thought for a minute and she said, "Well, every morning before I go to work, I always ask myself, the question is, how he's gonna make me look bad? Or what is he gonna do today to make me fail?" Now, I ask you the question, does that boss have any chance? I don't think so. So, mindset is a cluster of thought. It's all about our thoughts, our background. Uh, you know, it's a world view of how we see things through our five sensors, and this is basically, we come to ask a certain questions that make us either having a, a judger mindset or having a learner mindset. Now, the questions, what do you think a judger mindset, what kind of question with a judger mindset will ask? I will tell you what, like, what's wrong with me? Or why is everyone is so stupid and clueless? Whose fault is it? How can I prove I am right? Or why bother? Now, for you, how did you feel these kind of questions? Your energy, was it up or down? Give me thumbs, up or down. How about, the sense of collaborating, of being with others? Let me take a deep breath, please, because I'm going to give you another set of questions. And let's feel them and exercise these questions. What do I want? What are my goals? What works and what can I learn from this? Or what am I missing? What Now, how is the energy in this set of questions? Up or down? Thank you, Dr. Kumar. How about, the sense of openness and collaboration? Up or down? Thank you. It is up. So always kind of questions we're asking. Now I'm going to take you to a very nice tool. It's called the choice map. And I want you to look at it and to see if I can share. Yes, I can do that. Okay. illustration. Okay, what you can see, in this illustration, this little guy here at the start, and there are two paths, correct? Now, imagine that we are here in the start, and there are stimulus, sometimes internal and sometimes external, and we react. And usually, our reaction comes from, by default, from a judger mindset. It's ingrained in our amygdala, it's survival mechanism. So we always tend to be on the defensive. And this is our default. We go, and the other way is, rather than reacting, is to respond, is to when an external stimulus or internal stimulus comes to you, just take a pause, just take a deep breath, and response rather than respond. And if you see the judger mindset, or the judger path for the mindset, is going toward the judger pit. And sometimes people live their whole life in the judger pit. They are always on the blame. They're blaming people, their automatic reactions, their win-lose relationship, and they always say, why am I such a failure? Why bother? And these kind of questions. The good thing is that in the judger path, there is a switching path where you can ask different questions, like, where am I? Am I in the judger or a learner path? Or what do I want? So you switch to be in the learner path. The learner path is healthy, is more a curiosity. It's what happened. What do I want? It's what assumption I'm making, because you have to segregate between, sometimes we believe the assumptions and they become totally facts, and they are not. They're just assumptions that we have, and we build our reaction and our relations with others in such a way. So I urge you to stay always curious and always seeker to learn, and to be excited about life, rather than to be narrow-minded and asking yourself these kind of questions. I would like to end with a quote. Aristotle said, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, is an action." Namaste, everyone. Thank you. Any questions?
You can please feel free to pose your questions in the chat box, and Mr. Hamza will be more than happy to take them. Any questions for Dr. Adil as well? You can stop sharing your screen if it's okay, Mr. Hamza.
Yes, sure.
Okay, we have quite a few responses coming in. People are enjoying it. Excellent. Any questions, anyone? Please feel free to post your questions here. We'll be happy to take them. Learner and judger, does it come naturally to us? While you were talking, I got reminded of this small activity also, and you can feel free to post your questions meanwhile. Everyone can try this. Hands wide open, and let's chin up, look up, and try to be sad. Yeah, you heard it right. Just try to be sad. You're laughing away, Mr. Hamza. Not happening.
Oh, I love this. Amazing.
Okay, I'm going to try and make you do this one time. Just fold your fist like that and roll in, head down. Now try to be sad. Yeah, it's happening, right? So do you see which one was more conducive for us to be sad?
This one.
Second one? Let's see your responses in the chat box, everyone. Which one's more conducive? Second one. So very quickly, we know that we can be far happier, far more thriving when we're open. Don't you think so? Yeah? Well, it was so difficult for you to be sad. When you're open, when there's abundance, when there's learning, when you're driving to thrive. So excellent insight there by Mr. Hamza. And thank you for setting up the stage, Dr. Adil, with lots of insight and enlightening us with understanding authenticity so very clearly. You laugh and cry at the same time. Keep thriving. We see some suggestions. Any suggestions on how to change your thinking differently? A question from Sunil Puri here. Mr. Hamza, if you can take that. Any suggestions on how to change your thinking?
It requires a lot of, because we're programmed to think all the time and we overthink all the time and we're worrying about the future, we're regretting the past. All we need to do is just to concentrate on our breath. This is a blessing from God. You know, everybody breathes and we breathe, sometimes not in a good way, like when we are children. So just take a deep breath and focus on your breath. You'll stop thinking, and that moment is really blissful. So try that, doing it with meditation and with your, while you're driving, before you go to bed. It becomes a habit and it becomes an anchor. And for me, the best anchor for me to stay alert is my breath, and we breathe all the time.
Yeah, superb.
I wanted to add one more point, and that is that this is where authenticity comes in. Where you laugh, when you laugh, you feel like laughing. When you cry, you feel like crying. So cry when you feel like crying, laugh when you feel like laughing. That's authenticity. The problem comes is when we make pretensions of laughing when we feel like crying, and we cry when we feel like laughing. And that is where the entire challenge comes in.
We've been living with the mask on, haven't we?
Sure.
Sometimes, yeah. I think this pandemic is here to teach us that lesson too.
So throw off your mask. That is the most important thing for authenticity.
Where's my mask? I want to throw it now.
Throw it off.
Let's everyone do this. Throw it off. Yeah, mentally give that checkpoint to ourselves. Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Adil. So that brings me to our next very discussion, that our mindset has all the power. And here we are for a panel discussion with three of our doctors and experts, Dr. Nirmala, Dr. Swati, and Dr. Siddharth. I think Dr. Siddharth is back-to-back into surgeries, and he's been still very kind enough to take out time for this very event. So thank you to each one of you for sparing this important, time for this discussion for the benefit of everyone. So I just make one quote. Our subjective mind is constantly deciding what's happening in the objective world of ours, isn't it? So it becomes even more important for us to understand the subjectivity involved in this. Okay, we can't really trust our mind because it's responding differently to different situations. It's responding differently to the same stimuli when you're feeling different. So there is a lot of complication about us that we need to understand, and especially our mind matters, right? So when we are talking about coping with crisis or coping with challenges in life, I think it becomes critical for us to understand how this mind works and how to handle it a little differently. With our experts on board here, I'm sure we're in for a lot of insights. So thank you once again to all our panelists for joining in. And I'd like to start. Can we have Dr. Swati, Dr. Nirmala, and Dr. Siddharth pinned, please? Manas, you can pin all three of them.
Done, ma'am.
Okay, I can see Dr. Swati.